What are your thoughts on black award shows?
I think it's dumb.
Why do you think it's dumb?
Denzel Washington wouldn't apply for a black award.
Oh, you're comparing Denzel Washington, Samuel,
Yeah.
to the average black person from Lewisham. Are you really doing that, Samuel?
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous. If I see a black pilot, I will question if he's qualified.
Yes.
That sounds quite racist to me.
Me educating my kids and saying, guys, it's going to be harder for you because you're black. So what we need to do is we need to protest and campaign to have diversity in the workplace to give you more of an opportunity will be the most stupid thing to tell them.
It won't make sense to you, Samuel.
No, it doesn't.
Because you're not black. So it doesn't need to make sense to you.
I don't think you're representing black people too good right now. Question for you then. How many asylum seekers should we accept per day?
Bro, I'm not a politician, bro.
Right, exactly. But you're talking like one.
But I'm saying, but I'm giving people the facts of like, it's not as simple like.
No, but you're attacking me.
You laugh, but I don't think it's funny what you said.
That's snowflake, my friend. There be some people that watch this video and say, Samuel's racist. Based on what you just said as well, that little short, I can just see the clips now. I'm the only white person in my family.
If you can say that in public, can you imagine what you're saying behind closed doors? And these are people that you want in controlling our country.
We won't be able to have a conversation like this in 5 years' time because you say one wrong thing and then bap, you're just cancelled and your bank account is gone.
I think your problem is, Sam, you oversimplify things way too much.
I don't know, because I don't know what you're talking about. You're speaking Chinese to me. I mean, you don't have any solutions.
Neither do you.
The title of the video, Austin is outraged with Samuel Leeds for having opinions. I'm sure if I was running for Prime Minister, I would be absolutely hated.
I'd hate you. Samuel, we're back.
Yes, part two.
Long awaited. This time we're going to go more for a different angle, right? Because it's quite a few political things that you've been talking about. It's a bit strange, you know. I love to get like an angle on that, to be honest, bro. So let's get straight into it. I'm not here to waste time. You're not here to waste time either. You claim that the government offered you £3 million to house illegal immigrants. Your words, correct?
No, that wasn't my exact words.
That's what the title said on TikTok.
Okay. I was offered £35,000 a month.
Okay, yeah.
Over a 6-year, 11 months. So yeah, I think it worked out just shy of £3 million.
Okay, so to house illegal immigrants. That's what the title said.
Yeah, I was quite clear. I did a full discussion, sit down on this. But yes, I mean, do you want the long or the short version?
Yeah, let's go. Tell me what happened. Is it a long version?
The long version of what happened was I've got a hotel in Willingham House.
Yep.
And I was in the process of refurbishing it. And I was approached by a company who offered to give me guaranteed rent of £35,000 a month. And I was like, that sounds all right. It sounds like a decent offer. And I said, what about in terms of like maintenance? They said, we'll pay maintenance, we'll pay. So I said, yeah, okay, cool. Send me over a proposal. They sent me over a proposal. And in the proposal, that's where there was a little bit more detail about who'd be in there. And it mentioned asylum seekers. And to be honest, it kind of pisses me off how much money Home Office put towards asylum seekers.
Yeah, I get that, but asylum seekers are not illegal immigrants. They're lawfully allowed.
Some of them are, though.
They're lawfully allowed to be in the UK.
But many of them are illegal immigrants.
No, they're lawfully allowed to be in the UK under law until they've gone through the process, the asylum seeking process, before they actually, decided what to do with them. So
yeah, but
they're not illegal immigrants.
But a lot of them are illegal immigrants.
Terminology.
A lot of them are.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, if you come to England and you say you're seeking asylum, but then it turns out that you're actually not, you're just coming just because you want to live a better life and benefits, and you're saying, and you come with no passport, no visa, no nothing, then that's illegal.
For sure, but the government contract that you were given was asylum seekers.
Correct.
So they're lawfully allowed to be in the UK until what's decided to do with them.
Technically, yes.
For sure. So they weren't illegal.
Well, a lot of asylum seekers are illegal immigrants.
But no, but the ones that you offered for your hotel weren't illegal.
No, they weren't illegal.
So why did you say that they were legal immigrants? That's what I'm trying to understand.
So I said that, I can't remember my exact wording on my short, but a lot of, in my opinion, coming here with no visa, no this, no that, it is illegal.
Yeah.
Now, technically, okay, it's not because of international law. I'm not a politician. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to claim to be an expert in all the different terminology.
But
basically, I said no.
But at the end of the day, right, I get it. I do understand that. From that angle of like, cool, they're asylum seekers, not legal immigrants. I don't get too caught up in the terminology.
Yeah.
Why didn't you want them staying in your hotel?
That's a fair question. Because it's a lovely boutique hotel, and I'd got it to do it as a hotel. And sometimes it might be tempting financially when people come along and they say, oh, well, you could do this or whatever. But to me, it almost felt like a bribe. I think that the government's giving £4,000 a month for asylum seekers who are coming into this country, whether you say illegal or not illegal, but coming in with no visa, with no nothing. I think it's wrong. I didn't want to support it and get behind it.
To be honest, I want to stay here for a little bit because there's a lot going around in the media right now around the present topic, and I just don't want people to be misinformed, right? Because somebody doesn't understand how it works. They would literally think these people are here legally when, by law, international law, they actually have a right to be in the UK. So
technically, that's correct.
I kind of wanted to address that side of things as well. Do you know what I mean? It's an
interesting one, isn't it? If you go into a country with no passport, and no visa and no nothing, it's a little bit of a sweeping thing to say, but generally, I think most people would say that's illegal. Now, technically, you're right. International law says if they're fleeing and they're seeking asylum, then technically they have a human right to do that. Fine, but I think generally to go into a country with no passport, no visa, no nothing is probably not very lawful.
But let's think about why they're coming here, right? As you mentioned, they're fleeing, war, crime, and for their own safety, right? If you were in their shoes, would you not want to do the same?
I think it's interesting because 85% of people that come in are men.
Okay.
And some of them are criminals, and I feel like we have a sense of protection of our own people in the UK. Rather than, you're coming in unverified, could be a criminal, no record, come on in.
For sure.
That's, I feel, a threat to our own people in this country. So I think that the system needs re-looking at. However, if someone's genuinely suffering from war or whatever, then I understand why they would flee the country. But here's an interesting question. Why don't they stop at France? Why do they come to the UK?
Why do you think?
Well, I'm asking you.
I don't know. I think because if we're being, to answer your question, if we're being honest, I think because the UK is a bit more lenient when it comes to them coming here.
Correct.
And, so that's my answer to your question. What's your answer?
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
So they don't stop at France, they come here. So they're not really seeking asylum, most of these guys, because they could just stop at France. They want to come here because they know they'll have a better life. They'll have food. They'll have comfort. They'll be in luxury hotels. It's a joke.
And to be fair, that's what I'm on your page actually. Because when we left the EU, we were actually allowed to send them back to France. But since leaving the EU, we don't have that privilege anymore. So now we actually have to keep them here, which is kind of ruined out. So were you for us leaving the EU or were you against it?
I voted out.
Yeah.
However,
so wait, let's stop there for a little bit. So you voted out. So are you also aware that because of us leaving the EU, it makes it more difficult for us to send asylum seekers back to neighbouring countries in the EU?
There's loads of problems as a result.
So
of
you're
being out.
almost part of that problem.
Well, when you're voting, right? You firstly, without having a crystal ball, you never know 5-10 years down the line that how that's going to affect things. You can't split test it. And secondly, when you're voting, you can only go off of the information of what you have at the time. And thirdly, when you're voting, there's good and bad of both. Like if we'd have stayed in, there could be some bad. So there's definitely been a lot of bad things that have happened as a result of leaving the EU. But I did vote out.
I know. I want to put a pin there, but I also want to come back to this really, really quickly because there's a few things that I want to mention. Right. So when we look at asylum seekers, right, and they're leaving war, the UK is actually at hand for some of these things. The UK is actually funding some of these wars that they're trying to flee from as well. So don't you feel some responsibility that as a country, we need to do something about these people that are fleeing wars that we've played a part on? We're here sitting here saying, oh yeah, well, we've got to look after our people and do this and do that. And look, end of the day, I agree, there needs to be some limit to this thing. Like we can't be in our own country for other people. But at the same time, these are issues that we've started. The EU is an issue that we've started. You vote to leave. So my question is, how do you feel about that? And also, why did you vote to leave?
I voted to leave because of sovereignty, because I think that every country should be in control of its own country, have its own rules. And I didn't like the idea of there being all these faceless, nameless people that have power over our country. But sovereignty is the main reason. Has there been some annoyances as a result of that? Absolutely, yes, there have. Would I vote the same way again? I don't know. I guess it's a hypothetical question. But the government in the UK are corrupt.
Do you feel a duty, based on the fact that the UK has played a role in these people wanting to flee their countries?
Like, give me an example of a country that then.
From research has shown, the UK actually funds some of these wars, like
what?
Yemen.
Which one?
Yemen.
Yemen.
Yep.
So how did it fund Yemen?
So they put £7 billion towards Yemen. Some of the actual arms, some of the weapons used in these wars around these countries are actually British weapons. So they have a hand to play. And also, just by colonialism of what the UK have done, they've created a lot of problems in Africa that have sparked some of these wars as well. So the UK isn't innocent. Like you know that. Samuel. You're a smart person. You know that.
No, the UK has done some horrendous things.
For sure, you know that, right?
And it's 100%. Also done some great things. It also, the UK also abolished the slave trade.
Yep.
So
I agree. The UK's done some great things,
but some horrendous things
for sure. And they've played up. So like when now people want to flee the countries, whether it's direct or indirect, but would you agree that they have had some cause in? So they've got some part to play. Like even from the angle of there's weapons used in these wars that are British weapons.
I mean, so what's your point? The government, our government caused problems in other countries.
Yep.
Therefore, we should now host them in, and we should now allow.
No, that's not what I said.
I'm trying to work out what you are saying.
I'll tell you my point. So I'm saying that the government had part to play in the wars that have led to some of these asylum seekers wanting to leave the country.
Yeah.
So and they're coming here because of the problems that they've had a hand in creating. So don't you feel that the UK has got some form of protection over the people?
No, I think that the UK government should stop funding the wars.
Okay.
And I think they should stop being corrupt.
But but it's too late now. The people are leaving now. The wars are here.
It's not too late for anyone to stop being corrupt.
You're right. It's not too late for that, but people are fleeing now. They've got to go somewhere. So like,
I don't think we should compromise our own safety of our own people.
Even if you had a part to play in it?
No. I think we should say we'll stop funding wars, we will stop being corrupt, and we'll protect our people.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next point. Next thing I want to speak to you about is so you mentioned the government paid you 35k a month.
Offered to pay me. Not the government, a company.
Company that was funded by the government.
I don't know, probably.
So what proof do we have then that, if you're saying you don't know, what proof do we have that it was the government involved in this?
Because the way these companies run, they're funded by the councils and by the government.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're providing homes for vulnerable people, for asylum seekers, for homeless people, they are funded by the councils and by the governments, and then they come to people like me who've got properties and offer to rent them properties off of me.
So who was the company that came to you?
I've not named the company.
Yeah.
But when I've gone on the GB News. Yeah. When I've been on, I don't know, I can't even remember because I don't watch them. I just go on
Talk TV, right? Talk TV. I've been on there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. When I've been on Daily Mail. All the companies that ran with the story, I did have to prove. I sent them all the contracts.
Okay, cool. So they did ask you for that proof.
Yeah, they did, which I was actually impressed with because some people say, in fact, GB News, they were really good with the due diligence side of it, because some people say like, oh, GB News will just run with anything. Yeah. But no, they wanted to see the contracts, the company. But I did ask them not to publish the name of the company.
Why is that?
Because that story went absolutely viral, Austin.
Incredibly viral.
It had
Elon Musk speaking about it.
Elon Musk was speaking about it.
What did Elon Musk say about it?
Elon Musk said that I was a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had tens of millions of views. And most of the people viewing it were actually on my side and were angry.
Yeah.
And if I'd have named that company would be finished.
So why do you care? Why have you got such... If you're so passionate about this, why have you got this...
Because
this company?
It irritates me when people make a victim of the wrong person. The company are doing nothing wrong. It's like when people go to have you seen people going to the Epping Hotel and they're smashing it up with all these immigrants? Illegal immigrants or asylum seekers, whatever you want to say. Asylum seekers. Some of them are illegal immigrants, but these people that are coming in, some of them rightly, some of them wrongly. Mm-hmm. But and people are pissed off.
Yeah.
So as a result, they go to the hotel and they smash it up. What good is that going to do? None.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing to do, in my opinion. Yeah. It's horrible.
Because obviously the owner isn't it's not their fault.
Not just the owner, but the people in the hotel.
Yeah.
These people that have fled here.
Yeah.
Whether they've fled because they because they think England's a soft touch.
Yeah.
And they just want a better, nicer life and they want free accommodation. But a lot of them will genuinely be asylum seekers that have come because they are being persecuted. They're in war-torn countries. So they're here. And I can't blame them.
But Samuel, do you feel like you've ever got a part to play in that, right? So like, let me land this quickly. So you labeled the TikTok post as illegal immigrants, and it got 6.7 million views, very viral. A lot of people, I'm not advocating for them at all, right? But there's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm Gen Z, right? We're not taught about this in school. So there's people that think these people are literally illegal immigrants that should not be in this country, even though by law they're allowed to be. And by your TikTok message, do you not feel like you've spreading that kind of hate in that message? That's just my question for you.
I don't think so, no. I think that I was trying to encourage business owners and also property owners to be able to actually say no and not be ashamed of it, because so many people would say, oh, you're racist because you won't house asylum seekers, and I'm like, no, man, I'm just speaking and being honest. Now, in terms of, because a minute ago you were saying, why don't you just name the company, who cares? Now you're saying, oh, but don't you feel you're stirring up hate? I'm a human being, I'm not perfect. For me, if I'd have named the company, they'd have been persecuted.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes sense to go to Epping Hotel and smash it up when the enemy is not the asylum seekers. Really, the problem is with Home Office.
Yeah.
Home Office are a joke.
I agree with you.
So if people want to protest,
backlog is ridiculous. The backlog is ridiculous.
If people want to protest, they should protest Home Office.
You're right.
So that's how I feel. So I don't. The reason I didn't name the company, even though I had to show it and show all the contracts when I went on all the different talk shows, was because I didn't want this to become. I know what would have happened is that company would have been cancelled. The mob, the angry far right mob, would have cancelled that company, and potentially there would have even been violence upon the directors. Sure. So I wasn't prepared to do it. That's why. But
let's look into this a bit more detail, and I think the education piece is important. So the reason they've come to you to house people in your hotel is because they don't have space to house these people. Would you say that's fair?
No, I think it's because they're taking too many in.
Yeah, but there's no space, essentially. There's too many in. There's no space to house everybody. So they've got to go to
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree.
So don't you think you're making the problem worse by you not housing them, but also advocating to other people not to house them, because like they've got to go somewhere and the government's doing the best they can to, house these people whilst they figure out what to do with them. Do you know what I mean? So how would you say that helps?
I think that it helps by sending a message to Home Office. Home Office even commented on it. So did many of the big companies like Serco commented on it. It's sending a message to say we must look after our own people first, rather than why should I worry about, have we got enough space to house asylum seekers? Why should I worry about that? I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, have we got enough houses for the soldiers that served in the war that are now on the streets? That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the asylum seekers. To be honest, that is not Britain's problem.
But I think I understand where you're coming from, right? But I just think because it's a law, it's legal law that they have to do something. They can't, like, if they just left them on the streets or whatever, they were literally breaching a law, with a contract, international law. So like in regards to that, I know what you mean from the maybe the moral point of view.
But we could be like France.
That's how it works.
But we could be like France.
What have France done?
Well, why don't they stop at France?
Well, if we didn't leave the EU, we'd be allowed to send them back to France, but we can't.
Yeah, but that's a different issue. I just think we should. There's only so many we can take.
Yeah,
and also the Home Office. The problem is that people come, and you know this. People come, and then rather than being vetted and looked at, and then either sent back or allowed as an asylum seeker, people come, and then it takes years and years.
Yeah,
and in the meantime,
it does.
In the meantime, they're costing £4,000 per month per person on accommodation. It's just a mess. It's a joke. So I just think that it's a joke.
But I do think we're in agreement with the mess, right? But I just want the right information to get out there as well. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's easy to propagate hate, right? And especially in a country where there's already a lot of hate towards migrant people as it is.
And I am a fan of immigration.
I've seen that. I agree. I've seen you.
I am married to an immigrant.
Yeah.
I love immigration.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan
of
the amount of mess that Home Office cause, and the amount there has to be a limit on the people.
Sure.
And I'm in the property business, and I can see that we've got a massive shortage of houses. So when we're taking in 1,000 people a day, on boats, there has to be a limit.
Sure.
So
and on that, right? Have you always been to like other races dating wise? Is this something that you've always been into?
Well, I've not really had that many girlfriends, to be perfectly honest.
How many girlfriends you had?
In total, I've had 3 girlfriends.
And are they all like multicultural kind of?
One was white.
Yep.
Second one was white. Third one was Indian.
Oh, interesting.
And then my wife. But those relationships were short, and I was very young. I've been married since I was the age of 22.
So you always been to like different races, essentially dating wise.
I think women are beautiful,
Yeah.
and I can appreciate a good woman from any
sure.
race.
Yeah.
And now my eyes are for my wife.
For sure.
So I don't really see Amanda as, oh, she's my black queen. She's just my queen.
For sure. And it's a difference about dating other races at all.
Mate, I only know Amanda. Like I had these, like when I said these 3 girlfriends, one was the age of 12. Like I'm stretching. I'm
12.
trying to make myself look a bit more.
Anyway, you got more girls.
Yeah, I ain't really got girls, mate. I've never really been like that.
A ladies man.
No, not really. Like I love women and I can
Yeah.
appreciate beautiful women, but like even when I left school and that, for me it's just business. Like
You're definitely punching, mate.
well, I'll take that as a
No, I'm
compliment.
joking,
She's amazing.
All good. But yeah, no. So let's move on then swiftly, right? So Charlie Kirk, you described him as a martyr on TikTok.
Yeah.
Why do you believe that?
Because he got shot for a message that he stood for, and when he then got killed and killed in public brutally, his message then absolutely blew up.
Yep.
So I think that he was a martyr for his message and what he stood for.
And how would you define a martyr?
Well, like I just said, someone that's killed for something that they believe in.
Something they believe in, right?
Yeah.
And so would you advocate for Charlie?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because Charlie made some quite alarming statements, right?
I don't think so.
No, he did. So he said Martin Luther King was an awful person.
Did
he did. You might not be aware of.
I've not seen that. I love Martin Luther King.
No,
is
but
a hero.
just to land quickly. So he said that Martin Luther King was an awful man. He said the civil rights movement was a big mistake. People seen this, they can find those images. But this is the man that you probably said is a martyr, right? Which can be seen as like someone the same vein as a Christian, leaders of the past. Like, knowing those statements, do you still feel the same way?
I mean, I've watched a lot of Charlie, and I've heard him talk about race. I've heard him talk about religion. I've heard him talk about so many different things, countless hours. And generally speaking, everything I've heard, I'm like, I either fully agree with him or I get where he's coming from. But to me, the guy was a very good man, and I don't know every single thing he's ever said.
You don't think he's gone too far to say Martin Luther King's an awful man?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to look at the comment in its context, and I don't know Martin Luther King either.
But do you believe he's an awful man?
From what I know about Martin Luther King, I think he was a hero.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely,
an absolute martyr.
And just for the audience to know, like, he was a big part of the civil rights movement, which ended segregation for black people in America. So for someone like Charlie to come out and say he's an awful man, and look, Charlie's made some opinions, right, which I don't. Some of them I do agree with, but when you're calling an icon, black icons, an awful person, the civil rights movement was a big mistake.
Thing is, though, it's like, I've got a view on Martin Luther King, right? From what I know. I never met the guy. I never met Charlie Kirk. Martin Luther King is a hero.
For sure.
Absolute hero, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know him. Maybe he did something bad. Maybe he did a few bad things. You go, but do you now endorse him? But Charlie said that he's not a good man. So now, does that change your opinion on Charlie? Like, you know what? I haven't got time.
Yeah. For sure. I'm actually on your page, right? Martin Luther King, right? He's human.
Yeah,
so I can imagine. The
guy's a gangster, man. Did you not see Martin Luther King when he gave his last ever speech? And he said, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord." And then he walked off, and you could see in his eyes the guy knows he's about to get shot, and then he got shot. And I'm just like, that guy. I love Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
he's a hero to me.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk said that Martin Luther King's a bad man.
Yeah,
an awful person.
That's insane.
I can love and appreciate Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King both at the same time.
Appreciating and saying someone's a martyr is two different things, Samuel.
Martin Luther King was persecuted, was hated and ridiculed because he refused to back down on his personal convictions.
Yeah.
And as a result, he was persecuted, he was targeted, he was ridiculed, and then he was killed. So I think he's a martyr.
Did that make Hitler a martyr?
No, because Hitler killed himself.
Yeah, but forced pretty much. But yeah,
Hitler was not a martyr.
Okay,
Hitler was a psychopath who ended up killing himself.
For sure. Well, I just think from those definitions, I just think there's definitions right. Yeah, but when you think of a martyr, what do you think of a good person?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, you think of somebody who was a person filled with conviction.
Yeah, which Hitler was, but he was not a good person.
No, and he wasn't a martyr.
Okay. So like that's part of the definition that definition doesn't say from the ChatGPT.
Someone that was persecuted and killed for their convictions and faith.
Okay. All right. So back to Charlie Kirk, right? So he made some alarming statements about black pilots.
No,
you laugh, but I don't think it's funny what he said.
No, he didn't make alarming. What did he say?
He said that if I see a black pilot, I will question if he's qualified.
Yes.
That sounds quite racist to me.
It does actually. And I remember when I first saw that clip and I thought, is this like deep fake? Because he I think his quote was, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be thinking, is he even qualified or something like that. And I thought, why is he talking about black pilot? What the heck is with this? That's not right. And I watched the full context and then I was like, okay, it makes sense. I think this is just the danger of people taking 10 seconds and basing an opinion on it. You know, I think it goes back to this, but what he said was not racist in the slightest when you see the context.
Okay, so what's the context?
The context is that in America, the airlines had 15% of their pilots were either women or black or people of colour.
Yep.
And they said, well, we need to raise that to 50%. We need 50% of our pilots to either be women or people of colour.
And did you fact check that he said that, or
did I fact check what? Sorry,
they want to get the 50% black people working as pilots.
I don't know who even said that. Whether that was one airline, all the airlines.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But his comment was in reaction to that idea.
Okay.
Which was, we need more black pilots.
Okay, we need more black pilots. Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
And his response was, well, surely we should just have the best person for the job. It's completely irrelevant what their race is. If we have to have X many black pilots or 50% of women and people of colour, suddenly I'm going to see a black pilot and I'm going to be like, oh, were they hired because they're a good pilot or were they hired just because they're... So that was the context. So.
I know, but why do you think though that by them saying we're going to hire more black pilots means that they're going to hire like where's the correlation? Where's the correlation between hiring black pilots and hiring underqualified pilots? Because surely the correlation should be we're going to hire more black pilots that are qualified.
Because I personally don't think they should worry about whether they're black, white, women, men. They should just worry about whether they're good. And that's it. I don't even think it should be a thing. Why are you even counting?
But do you think that environment can make somebody better? Obviously, like I'm a football fan, right? I'm not sure if you are. But
No.
you can imagine this, right? Let's look at the workplace. You've got a staff room full of people from one gender. Let's say that they're all white. Oh no, let's say the other way. Let's say they're all black. That you've got one white individual. Do you feel that that person will be most comfortable to do their job in that environment?
I don't think it matters. I mean, if
You
I want to
really believe that?
if I want to be a basketball player, I'm just going to get good at basketball. I'm not going to go, there need to be more white basketball players to make me feel comfortable.
No, but
that's snowflake, my friend.
No, but I'm asking, do you think that could be a factor? And let's just look at it from that regard of like we feel more comfortable in our own communities. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying this is the case for the pilot. I'm saying from that understanding of how humans are, whether you agree or not, don't you think our environment plays a role in how well we can deliver a job?
Yeah, I do believe that.
For sure. So when somebody wants to create an environment now, that makes people from different backgrounds more comfortable to do their job, don't you think that makes sense?
I think that hiring somebody because of their colour of the skin is wrong.
That's not what I said though. I said that hiring people to create an environment that allows people from different backgrounds to do their best work.
Yeah, but how would an environment be? How could an environment make it? You're a pilot. You're on a plane. You're in a cockpit. You do.
And
what are you talking about?
So, but do you think my argument holds weight in other scenarios?
I don't know because I don't know what you're talking about. You're speaking Chinese to me.
I've explained what I'm talking about. You know, listen
when
to
you
it,
hire
Samuel.
somebody, you hire them because they're the best for the job.
It's not that simple though. That's not how life works, Samuel.
It is.
No, it's not.
Go on, tell me how.
If you watch sports, right, and I know you're not a sports fan, but you can put a footballer, an amazing footballer, in a team that he does not fit into, and he's gonna be awful. So there's no difference between putting somebody from a different background, that he's not used to. So you can get the best developer from, I don't know, somewhere in Asia, amazing developer, put him in an environment he's not comfortable. He's not doing his best work.
Do you think they need to get more white basketball players?
Why would you say that?
I'm just asking the question.
It depends on the context.
Well, the context is basketball, professional. There's more black than white. Do you think that we should make it so that there's more white people?
If the white person wanted to be in a more environment, if it meant for better chemistry in the team, then potentially.
Well, we don't know.
And it happens, right? In sports, it does happen. Sometimes they bring in footballers from like the same background. So you might hire a Brazilian footballer. So let's say Brazilian. Yeah, maybe you might do bring a Brazilian basketball player to play alongside him. Someone that he can talk to in the changing rooms. Someone that he can open up to. But these are real things, right?
Yeah.
When your work is life. So when you bring in a Brazilian basketball player who can't speak the language and the whole team is from another background, who can you open up to? Who can you talk to? These are why these conversations matter. It's not as simple as hire the best person for the job. Also as well, that is subjective. And we know it is. In a country like America that is built off racist foundations.
It's patronising though, isn't it? Like if I was wanting to be a basketball player and I wasn't as good as the other basketball players and I was trying to get in the team and there's a black guy who's a little bit better than me and there was me, but they were like, oh, but he's white, so we need to encourage him because he's white and we need more diversity in the team. I'd be embarrassed. I'd feel patronised.
That happens, Samuel.
Well, it's embarrassing. It's wrong. Patronising.
I think
I'm sure it does happen.
I think it's tactics.
No, it's embarrassing.
I think if you're creating a team and you're a businessman yourself, right? I'll be alarmed, bro, if you haven't built a team and not thought about the chemistry within that team.
Not really. I just think about who's best for the job, and they just need to get on with their jobs.
And you don't think at all about the chemistry within the team and the alignment within the team. That's what.
I actually like. I like it when they're a bit different. If someone comes and they've got, I like it, but I don't ask them questions about their politics. And
let's stay there then. So you like it when they're a bit different.
Yeah,
that's what diversity is.
I like it, but I'm not even going to ask the question. I'm not going to deliberately hire somebody because they've got different political views.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to hire them because they've got the same and they're going to fit in well. I don't care. If I want a finance director, I'll say who's going to be the best finance director. And I think hiring people because of the colour of their skin and trying to include people and it's patronising.
I think there's two different arguments here, right? And I don't think we're going to see it as eye on this, but I think the first one with what Charlie Kirk said.
Yeah.
I think in that environment, the point that I made about inclusion, making sure everyone feels welcome, doesn't hold as much weight as a pilot. You're right, fly the plane. But my issue is I don't see the correlation between hiring more black pilots and hiring underqualified black pilots. Like, why do you feel as though because you want to push to hire more black pilots, that automatically means that you're not going through the same qualification checks that you would if they're from any other race?
Because as soon as you're hiring somebody and you've got more, there's more things to think about than just who's the best for the job, I think that's problematic.
And you think if you think that, fair enough, and you think that would lead to more underqualified pilots?
I think it would lead to people being hired that are not necessarily the best person for the job, whether that's in basketball.
And why do you think that?
Because it's obvious, isn't it?
So let's look at this mathematically speaking, right? So I don't know this, like, we've got ChatGPT, but say this airline, American Airlines, roughly how many pilots would they have, roughly?
Oh, I don't know, but I imagine hundreds.
If you land on 150?
Yeah.
So you're telling me and they're saying they want to get to half that, so that's what? I don't know, about 75. You're telling me that they cannot find 75 qualified black pilots. You think about them trying to find 75 black pilots would then lead to them being underqualified. 75, Samuel.
I don't think the government or authority should ever get involved in hiring process with a company, because I think it's as soon as you bring in extra red tape and the government try and come in and say you have to hire this people and this many, it's just pathetic.
Yep. Well, anyway, here's my argument, and we can move on after this. But final reason why I think it matters is I 100% agree they have to be qualified for the job. I do not want to go on the plane with somebody that's not qualified to be that pilot. But the reason why I don't believe it's as simple as hire the best person for the job is because it can create environments where the people that are hired are not in an environment where they can do their best work. Second thing that I want to mention is that when it comes to these things as well, sometimes diversity can be tactical.
Yeah.
Let's say, you run your property business. People can say what they want about it. But you hiring, let's say you hire a Nigerian person.
Yeah.
You might have opened yourself up to a market of Nigerian people that can come and sign up for your course.
But that's capitalism. That's me hiring somebody because I think they're going to do better for the job because they're Nigerian and they're going to be customer facing, and then it's going to make our Nigerian people. So that's me using my own free capitalism.
Cool, yeah.
That's fine. That is tactical.
Yep.
Where it's problematic is when the governments and authorities say you must hire X number of women or black people. That's stupid. If you're a smart free-thinking
Yeah,
capitalist, you're going to probably want a diverse team.
For sure, exactly, 100%.
But that should happen. I'm all for free market,
Yeah.
not being forced.
Yeah.
And if you're stupid and just want white people
sure,
only,
that's your problem.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we're going to spank you.
Yeah.
We're going to hire a bunch of Hispanics, blacks, women, because you have a better team when you got women.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
So we're not gonna complain. Oh, they're so racist. Let's spank them.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's beat them.
Cool.
The best way to get revenge on racists is to be
them.
successful.
Yeah, and I think the final point we're landing as well here, and this is more from a human point of view. Let's forget capitalism, etc. There's certain obstacles. I don't want to just make it black. There's other races that suffer this, and even communities, even women.
Yeah.
I'm saying like you're married to a woman. You know what I mean? So and your children are black children essentially as well.
They are.
So there's gonna be certain barriers in your wife's, in your wife's face, in your children's face, potentially their children that they have to overcome. So when we do these things right now, and you say like, hire the best man for the job, there's certain institutionally racist barriers in their place that doesn't actually allow that to happen, which means that certain things need to be in place here for that. So the people will still be qualified, but your children might need, and obviously, I think, because you're a great person, you're successful yourself, right? So they might not need as much other people. But let's say you grew up in a low, economic background.
Yeah.
So even you grew up, with obstacles in your place. So, and you're a talented individual, which you've shown. So you might not reach your potential if it wasn't for certain people giving you the hand that they need.
Yeah.
So there's certain people. So when you say, I had the best person for the job, there's people that might be the best people for the job that won't even get a look in because of the system that is created against them.
It's true.
So
if they've got a name like, Ahmed, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
People might
Absolutely.
just think, you're all right. That will happen. However, being a victim is only ever going to make things harder. And I think, like, me educating my kids and saying, guys, it's going to be harder for you because you're black. So what we need to do is we need to protest and campaign to have diversity in the workplace to give you more of an opportunity will be the most stupid thing to tell them.
Victims.
I'll tell my kids, it don't matter that if you're black or white or whatever. What matters is that you're good for the job.
But being a victim and being aware is two different things. Like, I'm not saying black people are victims. Of course not.
No, most people aren't. Most black people
or women.
aren't
I'm not saying
victims.
women are victims of anyone, but I'm saying you can be aware that there's obstacles in your place, and that can help you move quicker.
I train thousands of people in business who are black.
Yeah.
And if I said to them, is it harder for you because you're black? They'll say, no.
And I'll say they're wrong.
They might be wrong, but because they don't think
From
it's harder.
From a spiritual point of view, I agree. From a spiritual point of view, I get
because
that.
they're just like, no, it's not harder. It's the same as me. Like, do I get treated differently because I'm not educated?
Yeah.
Probably, but if I go around thinking it's hard for me, what you focus on expands, it will make it even harder. So is it harder for a black person to be successful than a white person? It depends, actually. I think if you want to be a rapper or a musician, it's probably harder to be a white person. Maybe.
I don't know about that. Maybe I'm
wrong.
There's a lot of successful white rappers.
There
RDH.
are. I might be wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you're black, white, man, woman, like I'll give you an example then with gender. Is it harder for women to get on in business than it is for men? Well, in some ways it's harder for women, but they've also got advantages because people will feel more inclined to help a woman than help a man. So if we're at the petrol station and my tire's flat and I'm like, I need someone to charge me up because we're out, our electric's gone. I'm not going to go and ask someone. I'll ask my wife to ask someone. Because if I ask someone, they'll be like, oh, no, you're right.
You don't think it's patronising that you're saying that,
No, it's tactical.
Tactical?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I don't have a problem with.
And I would argue it's tactical to know, that as a black person, as a woman, you've got certain barriers in your place. And you would do things to
But rather than looking at the barriers, it makes sense to flip the cards. It makes sense to say, look, I'm black, I'm a woman, I'm this. How can I... Not that it's massively different anyway. But how can I use things to my advantage?
For sure, it's both. So I'm saying by knowing that you are at disadvantages, that allows you to have the thought process to actually do things that can actually do things that will work in your advantage. But if you go into life now, not being aware of the barriers in your place, you could lose quite badly.
I'd like to think though, and I might be wrong.
You got to be tactical in life. You got to be smart.
You have, but I'd like to think, and I might be wrong, that the colour of your skin or having a foreign sounding name shouldn't have much difference. If you're about trying to do business, it should.
But
now, I know that it can, but it's really wrong.
Of course it is.
And it's stupid. And most business people, though, certainly that I know, like I remember when I met a guy who, when I was only like 19, and he was a bit rude to me. He was like in his 50s, 60s. He was a bit rude to me, and he clearly judged me. And he said to me, "Oh, you should come back when you're old enough to grow a beard." Yeah, and I was 19, and I was like, and I felt a bit like, oh, and I didn't even feel angry. I felt more like shame, like, oh, I'm too young for this. I'm too. A few months later, I found a property deal that was a really good property deal, and I mentioned it at this event, and he ended up buying it from me. I don't think he bought it from me because he liked me. He didn't want me to win. He wasn't in my corner. He just wanted the deal.
Yeah.
He just wanted what I had. So I think when you're able to provide value and just be really good, even if people are a bit racist or discriminating, they'll be like, I don't really like black people, but I like his property investment deal.
Sure.
You know what? I'll put it aside. You know what I mean? So,
and that's ultimately, I'm with you on that. You know, just to run off here, I'm with you. Like, be great, no matter what, what's in your place here. Yeah. Go and be great. Go and prove people wrong. But at the same time, you were able to get to a point now, where you could flip that. But like, you needed help to get there. Yeah. So there's certain things in place to celebrate culture. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Black award shows based on what we spoke about today?
I think celebrating culture is great. Black award shows, I think it's dumb.
But when you say Black award shows, how do you define?
Are you talking about like an award show, like a business award show, and you say,
also, how do you define Black award shows? How do you define
were the one that said it. I don't know.
I know, but
what do you mean?
A award show dedicated to celebrating Black people.
I think it sounds dumb.
So why do you think it sounds dumb?
Well, like, do you mean like an award show? Oh, business awards, but it's Black.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
So what do you think's dumb? Like, break that down to me.
It's foreign to me. It doesn't make sense. As in, it sounds to me like it's, and again, I don't mean to be offensive.
You're about to be offensive.
Wow, I'm just saying how I see it. A Black business award show. It's almost like you can't get an award, a proper one, but don't worry, we'll do a Black version. What? And I've seen some of the guys I know the show you're talking about that are winning awards, a Black award, and I'm like,
would you want to say names?
All right, I'll say names. There's a guy called Anthony Lavelle.
Okay.
Who entered a show which was a Black award show, and he ended up winning an award.
Do you know what it was called?
I think it was called the Black Business Awards or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And he won an award.
And why do you think that's wrong?
I don't think it's wrong. I just think.
Why do you think it's dumb?
Because the guy's super successful. The guy's a multi-millionaire. He don't need. It's almost like it would make sense if normal award shows were never giving awards to Black people. And they were like, oh, you know what? We're going to do our own award show. But that ain't the case. Anthony Lavelle is super successful, man.
I agree. I know him. I know he's a vendor. He's a vendor, man.
He can get any award he wants.
Yeah, for sure.
He can apply for the property award show.
Do you think it pigeonholes Black people by having these award shows?
I think it segregates a bit. Yeah. And I like whenever something's like, Black this, Black that.
Yeah.
I just don't really get it.
So here's what I would say, right? So I understand.
Help me out though, because you're a Black man.
For sure,
so maybe you can help me out. Maybe you can educate me.
Yeah. No, for sure. Let me take my piece on this, right? Yeah. So I understand the premise of what you're getting at.
Yeah.
You're saying that, Anthony Lavelle or whoever is awarded for these Black awards, they should be fighting for the top awards, which they can do, which they can do, and I agree with. But as a Black person, right, here's what I think. There's certain conversations that you just don't need to have an opinion on. Like, that's my opinion, right? And I think same way, like, because you don't know what's like to be a Black person. That's facts. I'm a neurodivergent. I've got ADHD and dyslexia. Nobody will know what's like to live with ADHD and dyslexia unless you have it. Same way, if you're not a Black person, you won't know what's like to be a Black person unless you are a Black person. So when there's certain things that's done for Black people, I just think it's okay to not have an opinion.
I think you don't see me protesting about it. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be allowed. Yeah. I'm just saying. I just said I think it's a little bit dumb.
But why do you need to have an opinion on it though? Why do
you asked me what my opinion was?
But you've shown that you have an opinion. Yeah, I do. Why can't your answer be I have no opinion? It's got nothing to do with me.
Because I do have an opinion. I think it's dumb.
But why do you have an opinion on it though? Why do you need to have an opinion on things that you know?
It just doesn't make sense. It will be like saying we've got an award for everyone with blue eyes.
Yeah, but Samuel, that's my point.
It don't make sense to you.
That's my point. It won't make sense to you, Samuel.
No, it doesn't.
Because you're not Black. So it doesn't need to make sense to you. Okay. Same way, I've got ADHD and dyslexia. My dyslexia will not make sense.
I don't think you're representing...
My dyslexia would not make sense to you because you're not dyslexic.
But I don't think you're representing Black people too good right now. I reckon the people in the comments that are Black will actually side with me over you. Most people.
I disagree.
I think most people.
I disagree with that.
Yeah. But to say I can't have an opinion because I'm Like that's just dumb.
I just think like unless you have the lived experience, you can't have an opinion on certain things. And I think there's times where you just need to listen. And obviously, like I don't run a black award show. Like, you know, I might get pigeonholed because I'm black, but everything I've done yet is for everybody. That's just me. I've never ever done. However, there are racists that I see in my comment section that assume that what this is for black people because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? But however, in saying that, if you choose to do the black award show, I assume they've got valid reasons for that. Because they've got the lived experience here of being black, and you might not understand that.
So help me understand what's the reason?
I'll be honest, innit? Because I don't do it, so I wouldn't know. But I would imagine from their perspective, kind of what I said earlier, there's certain obstacles that are put in place that black people have, and them winning an award that's for everybody is more difficult. Not though. Wait, let me land this, Samuel.
Yeah, go on. Fair enough.
Not because they are not talented, but because of systemic racial barriers that are in their place. So when it comes to, let's just use the obvious one, right? Very simple one. If you are from a community now, and in that awards process, they don't have diversity in their team. Say the team's all white people. They might not even be aware of the work that's going on in certain communities. They might not even have that awareness. So that's already a barrier where, let's be honest, a lot of these award ceremonies are run by white people. So they might not have the awareness or the understanding to even credit certain people because they're not even aware of them. So you can be doing amazing work, and it happens all the time. You're doing amazing work as a black individual, and you're not getting noticed. It happens in football. Is how many Asian footballers are in the Premier League? You know.
But you say you love Martin Luther King. His vision was, he said, little black boys, little white boys together. He was anti-segregation.
Yeah.
So I think combating racism is being anti-segregation, and these things like black award shows, I don't have a massive problem with them. I think they're a bit dumb. And I also think it's segregating as well. It's like, let's bring our own together. And that's how I see it.
I'm not going to let you do that, Samuel. You just disregarded my point completely. I made an argument that you literally just absolutely... I think your problem is, Samuel, you oversimplify things way too much. That's what your problem is. I made an argument as to why people that are from certain backgrounds might not have the awareness on what they're doing. What is your response to that?
My response is, so do you think the answer is segregation?
Why do you look at highlighting people from some backgrounds that are getting overlooked as segregation? It's the opposite. It's highlighting them.
So that it's segregating them because it's saying let's put the black people in this room.
Let me give you an example, right? So I went to talk. You know Graham Daly, right? Posty. You know about Graham Daly?
Yes,
you must know Graham Daly.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's where all the rappers put their rappers put their music videos on the channel. Yeah. So he created an award called the Rated Awards.
Called the
Rated Awards.
The Rated?
Yeah, Rated Awards.
Okay.
Yep. So it wasn't aimed at black people, but a lot of people there from black culture were there.
Yeah.
Mo the comedian, you know Mo the comedian, right? Mo the comedian, you must know.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, Mo Gilligan. Sorry, not Mo the comedian, Mo Gilligan.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. So he hosted that award ceremony.
Cool.
By him being in that spotlight of hosting an award ceremony that he probably wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have got a Brits or anything like that. But he was actually highlighted at the awards ceremony for hosting that. That gave him the platform to then go and host the Brits in the following year. So he went from an event that was predominantly for black people. He hosted it. That gave him the platform to actually be seen by a larger platform. Yeah. That a predominantly white platform where he can host. So the reason why these awards matter. So as I mentioned, I don't run them, but somebody would argue that shows
you should run it then, bro.
That shows
you should just run a black award show.
But that shows the weight of it.
Could I come though?
You're not invited, Samuel.
Exactly, that's the shit.
No, I'm joking. Oh, look, see what he's done. I'm joking. Of course he can come. Everyone come. And the thing, and the reality is, but no, cool. And let's stop there because you made an excellent point. You said segregation. Black award shows aren't segregation. Anyone can come. Anyone can sponsor.
I'm gonna go now to every black award show.
You can do it. You can buy a ticket.
Can I get an award?
You can buy a ticket.
Can I get an award?
Wait. Segregation is being told yet that you cannot.
Can I get an award?
I think you might be able to.
Let's do it, man. Let's do. I'm gonna apply now for every black award.
Segregation, I think that's low to compare it because segregation. Yeah. Let's look at wait, Samuel. I need to land this right.
Go on.
Segregation. Like when that happened in America, you cannot sit in certain parts of the bus. You cannot use certain toilets.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Of course. So how could you compare that to a black award show that highlights people and platforms black people? Where's the comparison?
Because I went to an award show called 40 Under 40. Actually won an award. 40 Under 40.
But okay, cool. Okay, was that for black people or for anybody?
No, it's for anybody.
Cool. Sorry.
It's 40 Under 40. I won an award. I'm now a judge.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of black people there. In fact, it was set up by a guy called Richard, who's black.
So my question for you is: do you think it's fair, like the argument I made, that black people might need a more of a platform to showcase their brilliance because of the society that we're in?
No.
You don't believe that?
No.
So you believe black people, white people on the same playing field to come together?
Denzel Washington wouldn't apply for a black award. He would just apply for an award and he would win it.
So you're comparing Denzel Washington, Samuel,
to
the average black person from Lewisham? Are you really doing that, Samuel?
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. I just think it's dumb. I just think it's dumb.
Anyway.
We don't see eye to eye. We'll have to let the viewers decide what they think.
For sure. So you made a few interesting points today, right? And you said that, black awards shows are dumb. You believe that Charlie Kirk was a martyr, even though he spoke down on Martin Luther King. And also, you're an advocate for the Reform Party. So you said on TikTok that you're...
Bro, it sounds like you're trying to create a bit of a narrative right now. The funny thing is, there's going to be people that watch this video. Here's how dumb people are. There's going to be some people that watch this video and say, Samuel's racist. There will be. Based on what you just said as well, that little short, I can just see the clips now. But it's like, I know my heart. I know what I think. I'm married to... I'm the only white person in my family. Yeah?
Yeah.
But this is how dumb people are. They don't think. And this is also, people are so scared to talk about these things because what am I allowed to say? What kind of... And they're so I think, I just think people just need to chill a little bit.
Samuel, I haven't said anything that you haven't said. Like, I haven't made up any narratives that you haven't said yourself. Is that fair to say?
No, you've not said anything.
For sure. So if people want to come with that conclusion...
No, but it was just the way you framed it.
It's not my fault.
It was the way you framed it where you say, you vote Reform, you think black award shows are dumb, and I can't remember what the third point was.
You said Charlie Kirk's a martyr.
And you said Charlie Kirk's a martyr, and then people just think, but it's like, okay. Anyway, go on. What's your point?
At the end of the day, Samuel, if you want to be... It's down to you, right?
No, I don't mind. I'll answer honestly.
If you want to talk about these things, right, you cannot complain when people have the opinion. I'm not saying that I have the opinion of you, but these are things that you've said openly on TikTok, on social media, that you've chosen to say.
I never said black award shows are dumb openly before. It was only because you asked me.
Okay, we say it now, which is openly to the public now.
I think it is a bit dumb.
Okay, well... All right.
Anyway.
Let's go with Reform. So you say you'll be voting Reform next election.
Yes.
And you claim to say that you say you're not racist, or you've got no biases, etc.
No.
But the Reform is known to be anti-immigration.
Yeah.
Not even anti-illegal immigration, just immigration.
It is. Yeah.
Full stop. And you're married to an immigrant.
Yeah.
Your kids wouldn't be here if it wasn't for an immigrant.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Absolutely.
On top of that, there's been some absolutely ridiculous statements made about immigrants. So, or even people that were born here. An MP, Reform MP, I can show it to you. She said she finds it mad that she sees adverts of black people and light-skinned people or Asian people. So she said she finds it mad that she sees adverts with black people and Asian people in this country. Well, she said, that's because it doesn't reflect society. Yeah. But you've got black family, Samuel. So the party that you're supporting argues that your family doesn't reflect society.
Yeah.
And these are people that you want to advocate for.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the MP that you talk about or what she said.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'll show you now.
Drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, full of people that basically are anything.
What's wrong with that, Sarah? What's
wow?
So, and
let's make her mad then, bro. Let's make this podcast go viral. She'll see your face. She'll see your black face.
I love her to see my black face.
Yeah, and she'll be annoyed.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
But you're voting them.
No, that's stupid.
But you're supporting her.
No,
this lady, practically speaking, she could be the prime minister one day. If you vote Reform, am I wrong to say that?
Okay.
So like, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's very controversial. Like, it's very you're not making sense, Samuel.
No, I understand what you're saying. So what you can talk about one MP who says that, but let's look at the reform policies. What are the reform policies that you disagree with in regards to immigration or whatever?
So. Cool. Two things about that. So let's talk about the policies, but let's talk about the people behind the policies because humans make
Nigel Farage.
But let's be quick. Humans make policies, right? Nigel Farage.
I know Nigel.
Humans make
Nigel's
policies.
a great guy, by the way.
Humans make policies, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got ill intent behind what you're saying, if you've got certain biases, of course you've got certain policies now and not in power. So you used to say that when they are with these biases in mind, that they might have... Same way you said we left the EU, which has been a disastrous decision, but you didn't have the full understanding of what that might lead to. Same way you vote Reform in, you're seeing their MPs making these comments in public, by the way. Imagine what they'll be saying behind closed doors. If she can say that in public, can you imagine what she's saying behind closed doors? And these are people that you want in controlling our country. So when you say now, vote reform, and they've got these opinions. Are you not concerned yet that these humans with these human opinions and these human biases are going to run the country that could impact laws that can govern us and govern your children and govern your black children and your black wife and your black staff and your black colleagues and your black friends?
Yeah, I mean it's a fair point, and I did do a video where I talked about how I'm voting for reform, but then I also did another video immediately before, which was about the immigration, my stance on immigration, and their stance on immigration is very strict. And the biggest thing that I'm not a fan of is the fact that they're talking about revoking people's right to remain, because I think that that's just inhumane. If someone's come here and they've been told that they have a right to remain, to then remove that, I think is really wrong. So I'm against that. However, their general overall policies I think are fantastic. I think that all of their stuff on business is fantastic. Their stuff on tax.
Like what?
Well, for instance, digital ID. They're one of the only. I know Conservative are trying to jump on the bandwagon now, but Reform are very. They're very for freedom. They're for capitalism. I don't think they're racist. I think that one comment from one MP was borderline racist, but it's a very small clip. I don't know if it's taken out of context or exactly what she would say. But yeah, I'm not saying I stand for every single MP in Reform and every single thing they say, but I'm a proud advocate.
I know, but what I find confusing, Samuel, is that so you mentioned so many things that you're against what their policies are from the migration point of view. You mentioned one thing that they are for, which is the Brit card, which I'm not gonna lie, almost every single party apart from Labour is against. So I'm struggling to understand why you're for reform when you named a lot of things that you're not happy with.
But I think that it was Conservative that brought in the Brit card.
Why do you think that?
Because they've already done it. The Brit card is already in.
Yeah.
Just an hour ago, I was doing something online, and I think I was changing the name of a company on Company's House or something like that on Company's House.
Yeah.
And it said, in order to do this, you need to fill this information in, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out it was trying to get me to get the digital ID.
Yeah, I get that, but
it's done, my friend. It's not like Keir Starmer came in power just a year ago and then was like, this has been in the planning and in the making for years while Conservatives are in power.
Yeah.
So I think that Conservatives and Labour are just one of
But cool, but let's go back to reform now a little bit. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm still struggling to understand what are the benefits, what you see the benefits of having reform. You've mentioned a lot of negatives.
No, there's just
you mentioned more when a few in regards to the migration. You mentioned one in for reform that you would want to see, which is the Brit card.
They're pro-business, they're pro-capitalism, they're pro-free market, they're pro-sovereignty and independence, they're pro-human rights, they're pro-free speech.
Pro-human rights. What makes you say they're pro-human rights?
Well, you just need to go and read their manifesto.
No, of course, no, because I've got my own opinion on this. Yeah. So why do you think they're pro-human rights? Because I would argue they're not. I'll argue they're not.
Go on, why would you say that?
Because so they want to stop.
I'll tell you why they're pro-human rights.
No. Let me tell you why. You asked me. You said they want to stop asylum seekers.
Yes.
Are they not? Do they not have rights?
No, because they're protecting the British people who are vulnerable because criminals are coming in with no ID.
So you're calling some asylum seekers criminals?
Some of them are, yeah. Someone just got killed, didn't they, last week?
Of course, and there's UK people that are criminals as well.
100% there are. And we need to be protecting people from all criminals.
I know, but you said they're pro-human rights, right? Let's look at that.
Yeah.
They want to take away asylum seekers' rights. So how could you be pro-human rights while also taking away their rights?
Because they're pro-human rights. Because
but maybe they're pro-British people's rights, and how we look at that maybe based on your skin color from what I've seen from the MPs, but they're not pro-human rights because they're trying to take rights away from people that aren't from Britain.
No, because the current government are trying to get it so that they can get all of your information on an ID card, and if you say one wrong thing, we won't be able to have a conversation like this in 5 years' time. Because you say one wrong thing and then bap, you're just cancelled and your bank account is gone. Let me just finish. Your bank account is gone. Access to buying and selling is gone because you said something out of line on a podcast. That is anti-human rights.
Which I also agree with.
Agree with what?
That is also anti-human
Right.
rights.
And Reform are saying...
is also anti-human rights as well.
But Reform are saying we're not going to allow that. We're going to allow you to be human and not be tracked and have to have be a digital ID.
Whilst also taking the rights away from people like the asylum seekers.
But that's also
So they're not human rights.
no, but that's also
They're not pro-human
protecting
rights.
human rights of British people that don't want to be living next door to someone.
Let me tell you why they're wrong, right? So do you understand how they're gonna stop asylum seekers? Do you understand how they can do that legally?
Well, there's many ways. I mean, they're
What are
talking
those
about
ways?
sending them to Rwanda.
And what other ways can they? What other ways? Because there's a law in
Well,
place.
the one that we were going to do was we were going to take them all in and then send
Yeah.
them to Rwanda and have a deal with Rwanda.
But do you know why? Do you know why by law English people or UK has to take in asylum seekers?
Yeah, because of international law. Because it's if someone's coming in because they're fleeing from a war, it would be inhumane to let them die.
So and it's a treaty that we have signed. You know,
Yeah, we have,
It's
yeah.
called, I don't know the
International
name.
law.
I don't know the name, but it's international law, right?
19
you know that
something or
international law isn't just for asylum seekers. It's also
there's
for
many things.
It's also for us,
Yeah.
as Britons.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's a law that upholds our human rights as well.
Right.
You do know that, right?
Yeah.
So in order for them to have that law where they can basically disregard asylum seekers, send them all back and not take them in, they need to actually leave the treaty that protects our human rights as well. You do know that, right? And for me, that is frightening. That we're letting people with very biased and racial opinions leave a treaty that protects our rights as humans. And I'm not going to say they're going to, go out there and, like control us and take away and whatever us. But the governing body that would protect us from ill treatment of British people would no longer be a part of.
Yeah,
so they can almost do what they want.
Yeah, but Austin, you're a black British man.
Yeah.
Right? What the Reform Party are saying is, you might think it's some of the stuff that some of the MPs says is a bit racist or whatever, but we're not talking about laws that are racist. We're talking about asylum seekers coming unlawfully.
Yeah.
And you have to admit there has to be a limit. We can't just say we'll have unlimited people.
I'm a realist, bro, but I'm not emotional. Like, in a day,
Right.
I agree.
So
like,
how many asylum seekers should we accept per day?
But the thing is, I agree, right? There are people come to this country and they're doing hideous stuff.
Here's a question for you then. How many asylum seekers should we accept per day?
Bro, I'm not a politician, bro.
Right, exactly. But you're talking like one.
But I'm saying, but I'm giving people the facts of like it's not as simple. Like,
No, but you're attacking me.
But the content that you put out, Samuel, makes it seem like we can just stop the boats tomorrow. Why are we letting them in? And I feel like if you're not educated, you'll be like, why are we letting these random people into the country? The thing is, we have to by law. That's the reality of it. By law, somebody comes here, however they should come here, they are in danger, which English people might have played a part on. By law, by international law, they have to protect them. That is the reality of it. I'm a realist. I'm not emotional. I'm not saying, oh, okay, cool, let's let every single last person into this country and take whatever they want to do. But I'm like, as it stands right now, we have a law and a treaty and a commitment that we've made to these people. That's the reality of it.
I mean, you don't have any solutions.
Neither do you.
Well, I'm just giving.
And I don't think Reform do either, which is the argument.
Well,
I don't think Reform have any solutions,
I
and I think their solution is ridiculous.
The thing is with asylum seekers is no matter what you do, you're always gonna be offending somebody, because if you take too many, you're upsetting people, and if you turn away or send through one, whatever you do, because the real issue is it's the wars and the problems, and it's just a horrible thing. So how we deal with it is always going to be not perfect.
Yeah.
Right. So Reform's opinion of that's one thing. But Reform as a whole, digital ID, freedom of speech, business, taxes, I'm a fan. And that's why I'm an advocate. I'd love to sit down with Nigel Farage and have a discussion with him about his manifesto as a whole. Maybe you should and press him. But,
I'd love to.
But that's why overall, I endorse Reform.
I just think it's scary that you can enforce. You mentioned policies, right? Which they can say, politicians, they talk, people talk, they can say whatever they want. Doesn't mean they're gonna do it. Do you know what I mean? So that I just think it's scary how you can be somebody with black children, a black wife, supporting a policy or a party that is got quite strong racial biases. I want to take away some of the rights here of migrant people.
But who would you vote for then if there was an election tomorrow?
Don't know.
Right. Well, all I'm doing is just saying.
But definitely not Reform.
Would you
But
vote?
back to what I said earlier, Samuel.
Would you vote?
Samuel, back to what I said earlier. It's okay to not have an opinion. You know, it's actually okay to be like, I don't know right now who I'm gonna vote for. And I think if we actually did that and took more thought into what we say and not just say things to the internet, which sometimes might be incorrect and can get misleaded or misguided, we might be in a better position. So to answer your question, Samuel, I'd have an opinion. And I think I wish more of us said that. I don't have an opinion. And right now, reform are definitely not the solution to this country.
So you're upset with me for having an opinion. All right, that's good. That's a fair conclusion.
Yep, I am. For having an opinion that
should be the title.
That I think
the
is
title
wrong.
of the video. Austin is outraged with Samuel Leeds for having opinions.
No, I'm outraged with Samuel Leeds for wanting to bring in a party of people that want to take away human rights and have got clear racial biases in the media. That's what I say.
Right.
And I think to you, Samuel, I think you should look into them in a bit more deeper. And it's okay to not decide where you want to vote for. Yeah.
Austin, it's been a pleasure.
Final question I want to ask you, actually, Samuel. You're into politics a lot. Would you run for Prime Minister one day?
No. Wow. One day, I don't know, but I have no interest.
Why? If you're such a proud Brit that's relocated to Dubai.
Because it's an absolutely horrible, disgusting life, and it's extremely low paid.
Yeah.
And I'm already disliked enough by people like you. I'm sure if I was running for Prime Minister, I would be absolutely hated.
I'd hate you.
Fair enough. There we go.
You gonna shake my hand?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming down.